This is the Sikkim Podcast, presented by your friend in the car business, Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Online at alansamuelsdcj.com. The Sikkim Podcast is a production of Baylor Athletics. Now, here are your hosts, Brooke Bednarz and the voice of the Bears, John Morris.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's Sikkim Podcast, a production of Baylor Athletics. We're glad you're with us again this week. John Morris, Brooke Bednarz, and Brooke, how about some tennis today? How about some Baylor women's tennis?
Yes.
And we have as our guest Baylor's recently named associate head coach for women's tennis, a former Baylor standout, a member of the Baylor Athletic Hall of Fame. Lenka Broosova is with us today. Welcome to you.
Hi, thank you for having me.
And welcome back to Baylor.
Oh, my gosh, so exciting.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to be back.
Good. We want to talk to you about your journey the first time and now returning to Baylor. Coach Joey Scrivano is with us also, Baylor women's head coach. And this is kind of a whirlwind. We'll peel back the curtain a little bit. Lenka just in for are you here to stay, or is this just
for a day?
Like one day?
Yeah.
So we're recording the podcast.
Look how special we are, though. We got her.
You are special.
Okay,
Booked some time on your one day here in Waco with us. We're honored.
Joey, thank you for allowing us to have a little of
Yes.
her time today.
Oh, absolutely. It's a lot of fun.
What a great hire, Joey, and bringing Lenka back. Isn't it fun to have one of your former players to come back now as your associate head coach?
Oh, yeah. It's amazing. It's a dream come true. You know, when Lenka was playing here, over a decade ago, you could see that she was meant to be a coach. That's definitely her calling, and she's been going through a 10-year interview process with me. So, the longest interview ever. But, no, she's amazing, and we're really fortunate to have her.
Well, I know obviously it's a podcast, so it's not a video. You can't see. But right before we started, we got a Baylor hat back
That's
on.
right. And it fits perfectly.
Pretty exciting. So just what does it feel like for you to – I know it's just a day for now, but you do have the title of associate head coach. You are for sure returning here, moving home. What does it mean to you to return to Baylor?
Yeah, it feels right. You know, it feels like home. Obviously, like I feel like it's upgraded home. But it just feels so good. You know, I've loved my 4 years when I played here, and I continued that support and love for Baylor after I graduated. So returning here, it feels like not much has changed, but at the same time, you know, it's different. But, I mean, like Joey said, it's just a dream come true for me, and I'm just very happy to be back. It feels right, and I think that's the best way to describe it. I just feel like I belong here.
Tell us a little bit about, I remember you had a Hall of Fame interview with John, and so I went back and cheated and listened to that a little bit to prepare for today. But you had a pretty interesting recruitment story, one of probably the fastest ever. So we just joked that this was the longest interview ever, but that was the fastest recruitment. Kind of tell everybody about that process.
Yeah, so Joey actually joked about it. He was just like, oh, maybe I did. I was just saying that I made it so easy on him when he recruited me that I had to, make him work a little bit this time. But, yeah, it was super fast. You know, he called me when I was living in Slovakia. I was playing, junior tournaments, and I was so successful. But he found my number from his former player from his old job from South Alabama. And he called me on a, back then, the internet wasn't that big of a thing. So he called me on my home line. And then he told me he was going to come visit me like 3 days after, met my family, saw me play. And then I just, he obviously spoke about his, his values and what he wants from his team and kind of what his strategy is when it comes to going into future, what the culture is of the team and what he believes in as a coach, as a person. And it was just a no-brainer for me. He reminded me of my dad. And I just wanted someone who was going to work hard, who was going to tell me the truth, and sometimes the hard truth, but I know he wanted the best for me right away, and it's just, I got lucky because I didn't even ask many questions, but it just felt right. It felt right, and I told him I committed, and then the process from there was just so easy. But yeah, it was I think the fact that him and my dad aligned a lot with when it comes to life and tennis, it was just, other coaches today talked about the fluff, and Joey was much more about, okay, how can I make you better as a tennis player? How can I make you better as a human? And I mean, I was sold.
So you committed in Slovakia and had never even come to Waco?
I didn't even know it was in Waco. I knew it was in Texas, but when I was booking my flight, I had to ask Joey, like, okay, where
am I flying?
Where am I going? And and it was, it turned out way better than I thought. I just feel like it was such a blessing. I didn't know, I love Joey, but I didn't know what kind of, full package I was getting from Baylor. So I feel like that I totally lucked out, because I do feel like I kind of made a decision just based on him. So I got lucky, yeah.
You kind of described, why you decided to play for him, coaching with him. That's a little bit of a different aspect. What were your thoughts on that? And I'm putting you on the spot because he's right here. So.
Yeah.
But you already have the job.
That's what we've stayed in touch this whole time. It's a way different relationship than probably just a regular head coach and his associate or assistant. So I know a lot about his ways, the way he coaches, the way, his just views on life. So I feel like we jumped forward and, kind of jumped so many steps that other people would have to go through. I know his jokes, and we have inside jokes and things like that, which helps, because you're just together all the time. So those things, even though it's different, playing and coaching, we're going to have probably different things we're going to have to learn about each other. But in a lot of ways, it's similar, just because I know him as a person. I think that's the biggest thing that you look for when you look for someone who you're going to be working for, So I'm looking forward to learning more about that different position, but at the same time, I knew it was going to be very similar.
What about you, Joey? You talked a lot about, when you first went and looked for her, why you wanted her to play here, but to coach with you. What was about, the way she played and has carried herself in these years after graduation?
Yeah, initially when I was recruiting Lenka, it was just about her success on the court. And then as I was doing, my homework, I was finding out, she's a heck of a person. She comes from an amazing family. Her family are educators, so that, education's important. And it wasn't just all about the tennis from her parents' perspective. So I love just the foundation of who she is and was when I was recruiting her. But this time around, it's different in that she's going to bring a coaching expertise to the table. At the time, it was because of her talents as a player and her character. This time, it's about her character and it's about her coaching. I don't have all the answers. I know I got to keep evolving as a coach, and the questions are constantly changing in college athletics. So if you have to adapt, and I was not going to bring in somebody that couldn't add value in the art of coaching, player development, and recruiting. And Lenka, I've followed her career very closely, and it's pretty obvious that she's one of the best up-and-coming coaches in the country. And I'm not saying that because she's my player. I have, I can be honest about that. I'm not blindly loyal. I want to be great. I want the people I work with to be great, and I want the players that we have here right now to have the same experience that Lenka did. And the only way you can do that is you got to bring in fantastic coaches, support staff. Everybody's got to be just amazing at developing young people, and I think she's one of the best in the business at that, and her track record says that.
When it comes to value and great customer service, you can count on us. Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. As a Customer First Award of Excellence winner, our customers always receive exceptional service, and during the Big Finish event, you save thousands on every car, truck, and SUV. Plus, most vehicles feature 0% financing. The Big Finish event. Now at your friend in the car business, Alan Samuels.
Whether on the field or cheering from home, Du Bois Furniture is proud to support the Baylor Bears. If your bear cave needs updating, Du Bois Furniture is here to help. With over 59 years of our family serving yours, let our experienced sales team help you find exactly what you want. We specialize in custom upholstery, stunning dining rooms, elegant bedrooms, gorgeous leather, and top quality mattresses. Come see us in Waco and Temple or visit us online at DuBoisFurniture.com. Du Bois Furniture, where beautiful homes happen.
Now, back to the Sikkim Podcast, presented by your friend in the car business, Alan Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat.
Joey, we heard Lenka's version of when you recruited her and she hadn't even visited campus and she agreed and signed and came to Baylor. What from your perspective, your side of that, recruiting her from so far away, what do you remember about that process and what were the characteristics she had that made you want her to come here and play?
Well, when you're recruiting, you want somebody that's decisive. And that was obvious. She was decisive. She wasn't going to drag this thing out. And you know, that translates on the court too. Tennis is a sport where you have to make quick decisions and you have to basically just have a plan and execute the plan. You're a quarterback, basically. So she proved to me immediately, like, she is going to think about it, but at the same time, she's not going to overanalyze the situation. And I love that about her. And I saw that pattern in the great players that I've coached. They can analyze the information quickly. They can get a feel for it. They put the importance on people, not where the school's located or the city it's in. I mean, we all know that's a horrible way to make a decision about buildings, and if there's an ocean beside your like, these are all things that really don't matter. It's about people and relationships. Yeah. And she showed me right away she gets that relationship is more important than anything else, and I just absolutely love that about her. And in recruiting, there's other things that pop up that, especially with international recruiting, their system over there isn't exactly the same. So with Lenka, she had to accelerate her schooling to catch up. And a lot of student athletes may say, you know what, I'm not going to do that. That's going to be hard. I asked her, I was like, you need to do this. I would like for you to do this.
Please do this.
Please do this. And Lenka said, okay, it's going to be.
I forgot about that. That's
yeah,
right.
yeah. She's like, this is going to be real difficult. I'm basically going to have to stop practicing as much as I am. I'm going to stop playing tournaments to really focus in on school, but I'm going to get it done.
Wow.
And I wish every recruiting story was exactly like this one, because it was just amazing at how obvious this was the right fit for both sides.
I mean, that decisiveness, that quarterbacking. Let's just look at this. You left Baylor with 154 singles wins and 120 career doubles victories, both of which are an all-time record. John.
Nobody's had more.
Nobody's had more.
We can stop right there.
Yeah, there you go. Period.
That's it. But there is more. 3-time All-American in doubles, 2-time All-American in singles, Big 12 regular season and tournament titles for Baylor in your 4-year career. Was it all 4? Were you Big 12 champs?
Yeah.
All 4 years in regular season and tournament.
4 and 4, I like that.
4 and 4.
4 and 4.
That's good. Only because it wouldn't have been 5 and 5, only if you'd been able to compete and be here another year. But during that point, also, Baylor achieved its first ever #1 national ranking. Graduated in 2010, played here 2007 to 2010.
Big 12 Player of the Year as a senior. I mean, look at these. Wow.
That's Hall of Fame quality right there.
I'm going to have to check my ego when I leave.
We're here.
This is our job. We're supposed to make everyone feel good.
Yeah.
We brag on everyone.
But it was a great career, and Joey talked about how he liked your decisiveness, and I think that showed in your game the way you played and the success you had when you were here.
Yeah. It's so amazing to listen to that, but one thing that I remember, or what I think about when I listen to all that, is the hard work that went to to be able to achieve to those things. And then also, I never focus on those things. You know, I when I came here, I told Joey I want to win a national championship and a team, and I didn't even really understand the concept of, because in Europe we don't have, you know, college sports, but my dad was a basketball player and I loved basketball and I just always grew up around sports, so I loved the team aspect of things, but I was never in teams besides a couple times. But I just was like, let's win national championship. You know how to do it. I'll just, you know, help you and I'll listen how we're going to get that done. But I never set out to, like, I want to be a 5-time All-American. I want to one day, you know, be the first one, be number one in the country and all these things. It's just the process of getting better and working hard and putting the team first that really took care of all those achievements. And to be honest, I just wanted to be the best I can be for, you know, yes, for myself, but for the team. And all those things just kind of followed along. So, you know, if I could give advice to someone, because I'm hoping that's not going to be someone I'm going to be coaching from now on. It's going to be better than that. I hope someone wins 155. Yeah. But that would be my advice. You know, it's just focus on the process and put the team first, and all those other things will take care of, you know, themselves.
When you graduated here and after having the success that you had, most would think, you know, you'd go straight into trying to play professionally. You stayed here and were the director of tennis operations.
Yep, loved that year.
Yeah,
that was fun.
Tell me a little bit about that year and then how you continued, and then you did go on to play professionally for 2 years.
Yeah, so I, you know, stayed that extra year. I was doing rehab for I had a Tommy John surgery after. Which,
Tommy John's?
Yeah.
Which normally
which is baseball. Yeah.
Okay.
Very strange. But, you know, Baylor and Joey were so awesome that took care of me. That's unheard of, especially looking back now as a coach and seeing how it did not have to be done, and they didn't have to help me, and I just really appreciated it. I, you know, took a couple classes and they really took care of me. I was able to, because, you know, Joey knew I was trying to go play professional, so I was able to do a lot of things here that otherwise I would have to take care of myself. So that was awesome. But I also wanted to give back. So Joey told me that, you know, I was going to take care of Facebook and Instagram, and they were just starting with those things back then. So I think I was the author of Baylor Women's Tennis Facebook page. That was me.
Put that on a resume.
Yeah,
right.
we'll add that. Pencil that in.
Yeah. So, and then I would just help here and there. I went to Stanford with them when they made Final Four right after I graduated. So that was awesome to watch and be able to help. So I just helped wherever I could. And meanwhile, I was getting ready to play professional, which later I did. But yeah, that year was awesome. It was, you know, humbling, and I was growing, but I was still, that dream of being a professional was, you know, that was my main focus that year.
Was the injury, you know, that required the Tommy John surgery, did that, I know you played a little bit after that, did that effectively?
No, I actually got better.
Did you really?
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, that, honestly, I mean, I had no idea, but my doctor told me a little bit that what happens with baseball players, they actually start pitching faster.
Yeah.
So he never heard of a tennis player having the surgery, but it was the same for me. I mean, my serve got faster, got better, and because I couldn't play for so long after, I was able to kind of redo my technique from kind of start from scratch. My forehand as well, my serve. So that surgery actually was such a blessing in disguise for me. And also, like, the rehab part, I was able to focus on muscles that I would normally never be able to focus on, you know, like wrist and forearm muscles and things like that. So I think just all those details combined, I mean, my pro career jumped fast, so fast. And I think I credit it to my rehabilitation and the surgery in a funny way. But yeah, it was unbelievable.
That's a positive.
Yeah.
You only played a couple years professionally, then got into coaching. What was that process like? Yeah, moving into coaching.
I actually am very happy I took time in between. No, I had a year off after I stopped playing professional, and then I got into coaching because it is an important transition, especially when it comes to your mindset. You know, it's, as a player, it's all about you. It's all about how can trainers help you, how coaches can help you, especially when you go, you know, professional. You're the main focus, and you surround yourself by people that can help you. But after I decided to stop, being coach is completely something different. And I know coaches now that still would talk about themselves a lot, that would still, tell them, make their players feel like, okay, they cannot do better than, they used to do, or talk about their career. And there are times then it's important, but I really am glad I took time and really wanted to make sure that, okay, this is what I want to do. I love coaching, because it's such a big difference between, you're almost going from being selfish to being selfless. Mm-hmm. It's not about me at all. How can I help you? How can I make you better? So I'm really glad I took that time. And then when I did decide to become a coach, I was more ready than probably if I, did it sooner.
Was there a defining moment where you thought, this is what I need to do, coaching is the next step?
Actually, it was my brother. I was kind of thinking like if I should, just completely go away from tennis and maybe start doing some sports management, or, I studied with speech communication. I wanted to be a commentator, like commenting US Open and things like that. So I was like, maybe I should go back to school or completely leave tennis. And he told me, look, you've done it for so long. You still love it. Maybe it doesn't feel like that right now because I was still bitter from, not being able to achieve my dream of being a professional tennis player. But he said, you've sacrificed so much and you love it. I know it doesn't feel like that right now, but just think about it. Don't give it up. And then I really, thought about it, and I was just like, you're right. And it's okay that I didn't, quote unquote, achieve my dream. It's okay. So I was able to let that go and then focus on something different. And the best decision of my life, so I think it was that my brother that told me just stick with it.
If you need a trailer, Flat Rock Trailers has got you covered. From light-duty single-axle utility trailers to the Big Tex tandem duals. We also carry a full line of enclosed cargo trailers. Need a motorcycle trailer? We've got them. Need a dump trailer? We've got the largest selection in the state. Oilfield trailers? We carry a full line of Big Tex trailers to handle all your needs. Trailer repairs? We repair all makes and models. We'll even rent you a trailer if you need to use one for a day. Flat Rock Trailers, your #1 source for all your trailer needs. Find us at flatrocktrailers.com.
T&G can, and here's why. To say my wife and I have a lot to clean is an understatement. So we go to T&G Chemical, where the pros know what cleaning solutions to use and give us detailed instructions on exactly how to use them. We never got that kind of advice from any other stores. And the prices at T&G are great. From general household cleaners to odor control solutions for our pets. We go to T&G Chemical and Supply. That's why. T&G Chemical and Supply. That's why.
You're listening to the Sick'em Podcast, a production of Baylor Athletics. Here again are Brooke Bednarz and John Morris.
Lenka Broosova, our guest, recently named Baylor's associate head coach for women's tennis. Women's tennis head coach Joey Scrivano is with us as well. This week's Sick'em Podcast presented, as always, by Alan Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. On the web at alansamuelsdcj.com, your friend in the car business. And we talked about you stopping your competitive career, your professional playing career, a year off and then into coaching. Was coaching in the back of your mind at all? Was it, or was that something like it was the best option at that point, or was it way back that this was something you wanted to do?
I feel like it was a little bit of both, but mostly I always had it back in my mind. I mean, my dad and Joey both coached me so I can almost coach myself. That's why when I turned pro, it was almost so easy for me. I didn't have a coach at the time, but I didn't feel like I was missing anything or I couldn't, be good right away because Joey taught us so much, almost that I was self-reliant on the court, So I was very fortunate that way. So I almost knew in a way how to coach even, without kind of being taught how to do that because Joey did so well. Like he, game plans and seeing tennis in such a different light than I did before, that simplified it for me. Mm-hmm. So I always felt like I was fortunate to almost just, being taught how to be a coach. And I loved it. That's one thing I always said when I started playing for Joey. He just made me fall in love with the other side of tennis, which was more of just not just mindless playing, but also understanding the strategy and how to beat someone else. Before I would just be like, oh, you're better than me, nothing I can do. But, Joey just like opened my eyes. It's like, no, figure it out. They have a weakness, what is it? How can you beat them? What is, certain patterns and things like that? Oh, you can serve here and there. Just so many things. And that's just what being a coach is, So I fell in love with that. It wasn't just a game. It was how to, problem solve, how to figure it out. And that's just still so fun to me. That's my favorite part of being a coach.
So after you decided you were going to be a coach, how did Tulsa come into play?
So that was random. I was actually applying for a position. Me and Joey were in touch this whole time, but he had an unbelievable assistant then, and I believe it was Allison. So obviously, and they had such a great relationship, but Joey was trying to help me, and he told me that Houston had an opening for a GA, and that's normally how it works. You either become a volunteer or a GA, and then you work way up. And I applied for to be a GA for University of Houston, but I don't even remember exactly what happened, but that position ended up being taken by someone else. But then he right away remembered that Tulsa had an opening. So he told him that I'm interested, and then Dean Orford, that's my former boss, he called Joey, and he told me that he hired me because he spoke to Joey. So that was, because it's unheard of that someone gets an assistant position right away without any coaching experience. Right. And I was so fortunate. But yeah, I mean, Joey helped me pretty much to get that job, because I was living in Slovakia. We did an interview over Skype. We didn't have Zoom then. And I think we spoke 3 times, and he just hired me. So, I mean, yeah, it was obviously something Joey said that resonated with him.
Do you remember that phone call?
I do, yeah. It's an easy sell. I didn't have to do much. I think everybody in college tennis that was paying attention knew that Lenka was a special player, but she had that coaching gene, and everybody could see it. I mean, she, if Tulsa didn't happen, there was going to be plenty of opportunities for her. So, but I do think it ended up, we have our plans. It worked out perfectly, of course, and Dean, the coach at Tulsa, is just a phenomenal coach, one of the best, completely underrated, and he was just the perfect mentor for Lenka at the perfect time.
Lenka, I know you're a believer. Your faith is a big part of who you are and what you do. Can you see God's hand on your life through all of these steps that we've talked about, and then here we are today, you being back at Baylor?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I got saved at Baylor, my junior, senior year, and so definitely that road started at Baylor, and then everything that I went through had a reason. Me from Tommy John surgery to me not being a professional tennis player, which now looking back, it was the greatest thing that happened to me. To being going to Tulsa and then coming back. I mean, yeah, everything. It's definitely like Joey said. My plans were far worse than what God had planned for me. So I'm beyond grateful. And yeah, it is a huge part of, who I am. And I believe I'm a better coach because of it. And that's why I'm also another part why I'm excited to come back to Baylor, because Baylor is such an amazing Christian university, and it's exciting to be back and be able to, even talk about this. So I love that.
When you look back, I mean, we started this off by talking about your recruitment and him flying out there and, randomly finding your, scouring to find your home phone number.
Yeah.
Now as a coach, now back at Baylor, you're on the other side. You're going to get to help with the recruiting. You're going to be able to, now we have Zoom and fancier things. Right. But nonetheless, you get to be a part of that, and you are kind of, the walking example of committing, and then trusting that you can go overseas and that it's all going to work out, and all the different benefits that, is the full package of Baylor whenever they get here. So kind of what does that mean to you to know that, that you get to kind of be that person and bridge that gap for these student athletes now and in the future?
Yeah, that's I'm really looking forward to that, because like you said, back then it's like now there's college tennis or college athletics in general in Europe is so much more popular than back then. So they have way more resources than, I kind of, like I said, I got lucky that I chose the right university. But now they have so many resources. In a way, it's like Joey was saying, it almost like hurts them. Because you young, it's hard to be able to tell what you're going to base on your decision on. Is it going to be on buildings? Is it going to be on ocean? Or is it going to be on things that are good for your future? So I am very excited to be able to help these young ladies to kind of weave through all the fluff and kind of tell me what you want. Tell me what you want for your life. Tell me what's important to you. And if that aligns with what Baylor stands for, then let's go for it. But I think I'm very excited to be, the guidance for these girls, just kind of know like what can Baylor and, me and Joey do for them, and how can that just transform their life like it did for me. But yeah, the biggest challenge is just weaving through the extra, the fluff that they unfortunately, like the filter lifestyle, on Instagram. Because when you get there and you go through the daily grind of, okay, like, no, like, I actually want to get better. It doesn't matter that I have an ocean next to me. It doesn't matter that my coach tells me what I want to hear, which really it's not going to be best for me, whether it's a tennis player or just for you as a person. So that's one thing I'm really looking forward to, because I feel like Baylor has so much potential and can offer just unbelievable things for these young girls. So I'm very, very looking forward to them.
Did you ever anticipate... We've talked a lot about, obviously, this podcast started in the middle of a pandemic, and we've talked a lot about, just what it was like for everyone. We spoke with Joey, and, he got to spend time with his wife and his kids at home and things like that. But did you ever anticipate to have a job change in the middle of a pandemic? That's something a lot of people aren't doing right now.
Right.
And here we are talking about a new hire.
Yeah, but, that's another thing about how funny God is in a way, is that it just did not happen how I imagined it to be. I imagined to be like this glorious moment when Joey calls and I'm gonna say yes and like just I'm gonna see stars. But it happened very fast, and I almost didn't get to enjoy it in the beginning because moving and just all the other stuff that you have to get done. And I'm so grateful for everyone that was involved in this process, how amazing they were. But yeah, I did not expect it to be like this. Also it's middle of the tennis season. Mm-hmm. We just finished fall and going into spring. I'm sure it's hard for the Tulsa team. Baylor girls, they're probably expecting to have Coach Santos as their coach during their matches, but I think it will be even better. I believe that it happened for a reason, and it does not really matter how it happened, but it's the best for everyone. So for a little bit, I was overwhelmed and anxious, but this, I prayed for this for so long, and I just know that it will be just the greatest.
When it comes to value and great customer service, you can count on us. Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. As a Customer First Award of Excellence winner, our customers always receive exceptional service, and during the Big Finish event, you save thousands on every car, truck, and SUV. Plus, most vehicles feature 0% financing. The Big Finish event. Now at your friend in the car business, Alan Samuels.
I hate my job, but I don't mind getting up in the morning. I dread each day, but I can't wait to get out of bed. You ask me why, and what I'll say to you is true. Well, you can get breakfast tacos at Rudy's Barbecue. Scrambled eggs and brisket, they ain't fooling around. Salsa drap, son, they're the best in town. Barbecue for breakfast, yes, it's true. Put a smile on your morning at Rudy's Barbecue. Next in line.
This is the Sikkim Podcast, presented by your friend in the car business, Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Online at alansamuelsdcj.com.
Continuing on our Sikkim podcast, we invite you to subscribe, download, listen each week. It's on Apple, it's on Spotify. We're on the Baylorbears.com website. So wherever you find your podcast, subscribe and tune in each week for a new edition of the Sikkim podcast. This week with Joey Scrivano and Lenka Broosova, head coach and associate head coach for Baylor women's tennis. Joey, you've had really good assistants your entire time here through the years. In the back of your mind, is this a fair question? In the back of your mind, did you ever think, if the opportunity ever presents itself, I've seen what Lenka has done as a player, I've seen what she's done at Tulsa. If there's an opportunity, boy, wouldn't that be great to have her back?
Yeah.
Is that a fair question?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No doubt. I mean, we tried to actually make this happen 2 other times.
Okay.
But the timing just wasn't right for various reasons. But I knew in Lenka's heart she really wanted to come home, and she wanted to come full circle and really help our student athletes and help the program that she helped to build. We wouldn't be where we are today without her. So I knew that this was going to happen eventually. I was definitely frustrated that it didn't happen sooner, but it's like we've said, it's God's plan. It's not ours. And the timing is perfect. It's better late than never.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's perfect timing.
Yeah.
10 years in the making, Lenka. In your mind, I know you were completely invested in Tulsa and that program when you were there, but in the back of your mind, were there thoughts of, boy, it'd be great to have the opportunity to come back to Baylor?
Yeah, for sure. Like Joey said, we've tried to make this happen twice before, but, the timing just wasn't right. I really was – the Tulsa position just helped me grow so much as a coach. I learned so much. Dean Orford was just unbelievable mentor, and he taught me so much, and he was just, I can't even compare the coach I was when I started to what I am now, and I'm very glad that I was very selective and I took my time and grew. I've said this so many times, and it's not that it's wrong. There are coaches that take many roads, to success, but I really never wanted to be the coach that would just jump from one school to another. I just feel like it's, it takes you at least 3 months to get used to who you're working with or working for. Then you're leaving, and it's just like you're not growing as much. I always wanted to be someone who was, I am loyal, but I also wanted to show that for the program. I always wanted to be a part of a program that can build something new, build something special. So I really took pride in, wanting to take Tulsa to, different heights. And I'm very proud of what, me and Dean achieved there. And I think it's that much more special when, that I came to Baylor this time, when I can look back and be like, okay, I did something great there, Not, like I said, not that anything wrong with doing it the other way, but that's something I feel kind of, sped up the process for me as, growing as a coach.
What does it mean to you to come back to Baylor and know that the foundation that you guys are building upon now is a foundation that both of you as player and coach helped build?
Yeah, I think that's so cool. Yeah, it's awesome. It's just surreal. But I feel like that's why our relationship will be so easy in a way, is because, Joey, one thing I love about him, he always gets better, and he talks about this a lot, and he did it with us, every year there was something different we tried because we didn't win national championship, right? So you got to improve. So there's definitely, we both going to be improving, but the foundation, that's very important. And I always felt, even when I left, that Baylor tennis always had that, or since I've been here, I can't speak from before, but I always felt like the culture was always there. It was hard work, loving Baylor, having love for the school and the family environment, and that was always there, and that's why I just was always such a fan, even after I left. So that's just awesome to just be able to pick right up where I left off and just wanting to take it to different levels again.
10 years since you played, graduated, left here. I know you're just now back, but have you noticed any significant changes around?
How can you not?
That's where I was leading you, around Waco
Looks
and around
different.
the campus.
Yeah,
huh?
I mean, in a way, I do feel like I'm moving to a new town.
Yeah.
I mean, I visited it every year since I graduated, multiple times a year. So I've been to football games,
Okay.
I've been to basketball games. So the campus, but still, I do feel like I'm going to have to relearn certain things. Like I haven't found an apartment or house yet, and I don't really know where I should live. I was like, I don't know where students live these days. Like, I'm sure it's not. I was like, I lived in North Village, and then I'm sure it's still there. But it's exciting, though. It's exciting.
And you were selected to the 2020 class for the Baylor Athletics Hall of Fame. Congratulations on
Thank you.
that.
Thank
Again,
you.
that's a great honor.
Yeah, I feel like my year as far as Baylor is huge when I think about it. Hall of Fame, then
The decade.
the
all
decade,
The
that was
decade, yeah.
amazing, and now I'm the associate head coach. So I mean, I had a great year.
It was teeing
2020
you up.
wasn't right. 2020 wasn't so shabby for me, but yeah, I mean that's such an honor. I remember 3 years ago now, and Zuzana Zemenova was inducted, and she wasn't able to come, and I got to read her speech. And I'm almost grateful she couldn't come because I get to experience what that really is like.
Yeah.
And it was the whole weekend. It was a football game, and just seeing how much it means to all the families, and it was just such an amazing experience. And when I got inducted, it meant that much more. I got to read, listen to other people's speeches, and it was just, it's a tremendous honor, and it's just unbelievable. Sometimes I still can't believe it, but yeah, it's amazing.
Very deserving, and obviously we couldn't have the normal induction banquet like we wanted in the fall. Thought about having it in the spring, but still so much uncertainty. It's just going to be pushed to next fall. So you just enjoy being an electee to the Hall of Fame, for a
Right.
year, and then we'll get to that induction banquet next fall.
Right. But I'm glad they, like I said, when I got to experience it with Zizi, it was such a whole celebration the whole weekend, with the football game and being able to go on the field and then celebrate with, my family, and my best friend, Lindsay Jackson, and her dad actually played here football, and her mom also went to Baylor. So I was heartbroken if they weren't able to come. So now that we're able to, experience it together and celebrate, I'm happy. Even though it didn't happen like it was supposed to, I'm happy hopefully it will.
Sure.
But yeah.
It will.
Fingers
Let's-
crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
we're
will.
thinking
Crossed.
positive.
Right.
That's 2021.
Right.
Hopefully.
Exactly.
And that's a good move by Walter. I mean, we thought about maybe
100%.
doing it, virtually or something like that, but it just wouldn't have been the same, and it really wouldn't have given you your due and
Right.
the other inductees for
Right.
this year. So.
And I can't imagine, what it all went to. Walter, he's doing such an amazing job, but I'm sure it was just so much hard work and making decisions. Should we do this? Should we do that? So I can't imagine that, but I'm glad that this was the decision that they made, and I really appreciate it. And, I spoke to Walter and I told him that for me, like, having family listening to my speech, having family just experience the whole weekend
Sure.
means a lot to me. So I don't know if that meant anything to him, but I'm glad they made that decision. But yeah, I'm very thankful to him and everyone involved.
Well, we've talked a lot about your success, your journey at Baylor, your journey back to Baylor. But I do, you mentioned it's in the middle of the season, and now the student athletes are, taking finals literally as we speak, and, gearing up for the holiday season and then coming back for, the spring. But have you been able to meet them? Have you been able to visit with them, or has that been virtual? And then, Joey, I want to hear their reaction when you guys tell them who their coach is going to be.
So I actually got to meet them last year. Joey asked me to speak with them when I came here, actually, with Lindsay Jackson. McAndrews now. She's married. We came down for a football game, and I told Joey I'm coming down, and he asked me to speak to them. So I actually met physically all of them and spoke to them, and they're a great group of girls. I'm really, really excited. They're awesome. So I met all of them then, but as a coach, officially Baylor coach, I have not, but I think we're going to be able to meet some of them today, which I'm super excited about, yeah.
Another part of the schedule today.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, when to answer your question about the team's reaction, I think there was concerned because it's the middle of the season and we're in this pandemic, and so it's
another change.
Yeah, it's another change, and so there was definitely some anxiety, but I made sure to tell them immediately, like, we are gonna absolutely crush this hire. And when they hear me speak like that, they know something.
We are absolutely going to crush this hire.
Yeah. So I think they got the point that this was going to be pretty special. And then when Lenka finally signed her contract, we let the team know, and they were just over the moon because they all know who she is. And like Lenka mentioned, they met her last year and heard her, speak, and they could see the pride and just how much, she's just a winner. When you listen to Lenka, especially you get her in the locker room, it's pretty obvious that she's a winner. And the players that want to achieve something, they want people like Lenka around them. So our team is super, super excited, and this is just the beginning. They wait till they start working with her and really seeing what she's about and how she can help them, achieve their goals and reach their full potential. It's going to be pretty amazing. But it's like I used to always tell Lenka this all the time. This is not going to be a straight line.
Yeah, zigzag.
It's going to be a zigzag, and there's going to be it's challenging, and but it's going to be a lot of fun too.
We need to let them get to work.
I think so. Yeah. I know. I'm excited to see what all you guys can cook up in the spring. It'll be great.
That's going to be great. Thank you for your time today. I know you have a short window of your time here and sharing that with us. We appreciate it. I know everyone appreciates hearing from you. Joey, thank you very much. And Lenka, congratulations and welcome back. We're glad to have you back.
I'm so excited.
That Baylor cap looks good on
it. It does.
Oh, that fits perfect.
Perfectly.
Thank you all very much. Thanks to Joey Scrivano, Baylor women's tennis head coach, and new associate head coach for Baylor women's tennis, Lenka Broosova. For Brooke Bednarz, I'm John Morris. Thanks for being with us on this week's Sick'em Podcast.
You've been listening to the Sick'em Podcast, presented by your friend in the car business, Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Online at AlanSamuelsDCJ.com. The Sick'em Podcast has been a production of Baylor Athletics.